But that's where the chip is underneath. There's like a ridge here, slight ridge there and there. Oh, there we go. It's bent the pipe, so easy to do. That's got to go in there. That's got a clip in. Like I said, I don't know if it's genuine. It looks genuine. It says minimum 1mm. Right, got the guide for the battery now. It says about applying a few drops of adhesive remover or high concentration, 90% or higher, isopropyl alcohol inside the battery well on the top edge to weaken the adhesive. I'm going to use the isopropyl alcohol. So I'm going to use I'm going to clean my other bits out of the way in case I spill anything. Right. Don't know how reliable this is going to be. Getting into the on the images, they've got a syringe, a proper needle head. There's every chance this could get in through the battery wrapping, and then what? Have to peel that apart. I've also forgot it said something about adhesive strips to replace the ones that are on here, and I've forgot to get around to that bit. So I was thinking I might even be able to make some use of that K5 Pro. I don't know if it'd be tacky enough. Maybe fashion something else up. I have to see what's underneath when we remove it. Don't know how long this could take. I mean, I can still see it flowing around in there. So I'm wondering if I should leave that. I'm going to pause it at this stage and I'll get on with adding some drops and seeing how that goes. And then I'll cut back in a second. Right, it's been a while, but I don't know, stopped for lunch and probably about 15-20 minutes extra of trying to get the battery free. Finally got the battery out. Now it's held in place by this adhesive pad, which is going to be a pain to try and get up because you've got hardly any room to prise it, and even if you put some drops of alcohol or adhesive remover, it's going to take a while working around, breaking down the stickiness outside. What I did in the end is I was using one of these just to try and prise underneath this side and this side. That side was too tight and I couldn't get there. Just like in the guide says at the top here, it's hard to get any purchase because this would bend. So you try and prise under there, it would just bend, so it wouldn't, be getting much. But I use this as well, a suction cup for screens. I don't know how much it helped. It was a combination of things. I was pressing down onto the back of here. I removed as well. There's a foam pad that was on here, which I need to put on a new one. But that kind of got damaged as well because that's quite stuck on. So I then use this. You can see that it's got quite a bit of suction on there. So I was using that as well to give some upward force to try and help lift it away. Kept dropping on more drops of isopropyl alcohol. It's obviously hard to tell exactly where it started when it's in there. I just had to keep adding bits. Hoping it'd be breaking. I mean, that's still quite tacky, so I don't know how much it did. I mean, this is, 99.9% strength isopropyl alcohol, apparently. And, yeah, it says in the guide to leave it 1 or 2 minutes at a time before adding more. And it still feels tacky, so I don't know if that would have been waiting for ages. What I ended up doing, they recommend in the guide you don't reuse any of the batteries if you're having to take them out for any other reason. Obviously I'm replacing mine anyway. But if you're having to remove them, they recommend you should replace the battery anyway. Because as you're putting forces on it and bending it and putting stress on it, it can damage the insides and then it can end up causing problems. Potentially like, igniting or gassing and other things. I recommend you should replace the battery anyway. So I thought, can't really do too much to it because I don't care about damaging it apart from it causing me harm or more damage to the switch. So what I did is I used the pick and I decided to go under this side instead because there's a sort of flexible area up here. I mean, there could be some components in there which could be focusing. There could be some components in here like a controller or things that could be in there that you might want to not bend. But it has much more give, and there's also a bit of a gap here. Why is this not focusing quickly? Where the cable comes out of. So what I did is I was trying to prise underneath to lift this area up. As you can see, I've bent it up and had more room to dig the pick underneath. I was rubbing it backwards and forwards, as you can see here. It was cutting away some of the stuff, and I could tell because there was this yellow sticky residue coming out. And so I kept doing that. Like I said, I wasn't sure how much was on the underside of this because none of the pictures in the guide show you, so I didn't know if it was just a few strips or what. But the whole thing. And just persevered, rubbing the pick backwards and forwards, trying to push it further under, whilst also trying to pull it up with this suction cup to, like I said, give some force away from the stickiness and the adhesive. Oh, and occasionally dropping some more isopropyl alcohol in there. And I think after getting fed up, I just started pushing the pick further under, and there we go. So that's come loose now. So now I've just got to clean this stuff up, and seeing as it's just a thin layer of adhesive, I don't know how much you really need to have it in there if you're replacing the battery. I mean, it's not going to go anywhere as long as you've got the case on. The only thing would be if you're undoing it and tipped it and it would fall out. You'd have to be aware of. So I think I might put a little strip of double-sided just to keep it in place without sticking it down too much for if I need to swap it again in the future. So I'm going to clean this up, get rid of this sticky stuff, and then I don't really need to worry about that, can't really do anything about that, reuse that. So I will on the new one. A bit of double-sided tape, and wonder if I can test it after I've plugged this in, just to check it's working before I had to close it all up. I'm not sure. And I'll put that foam pad on here as well, that square foam pad. Again, I don't know how necessary it is. It might just stop the metal case pressing on it if it had some pressure on there. So I'll get back to you in a while. Right, I've cleaned up that battery compartment. It's not really a big deal, I guess. Just might as well take the opportunity to clean it out. And now it's time to remove the heatsink. These 3 screws, 1, 2, and 3. Running out of space on my thing to work out what the hell's what. Most of these, they're all in the same area, so I'm trying to stick them in something that makes sense to me. I'm going to end up with a cluster of them. Right. So you've got to peel away these 2 pieces of foam from the fan, which it recommends using a, someone said about spudger, a rounded tip one, rolling it underneath. There's a video, but I'm just going to do it. I've checked the video. As you see, all in it. I've come to a standstill there. Not sure whether these are just filters to stop dust getting through. I'm getting a bit stuck there, but you can hear, it does seem like I'm maybe tearing it. Have a look at the tweezers. If it is to prevent dust, then if you tear it, even though you can get the majority of it stuck right down, if you have a gap, that's going to affect the dust prevention abilities. I've started to move across there. This bit's a bit sticky. Anyway, I use good adhesive pads. I'm kind of getting a bit impatient because this is maybe taking longer than I'd hoped. And I've got about an hour and 3/4 until kids come home from school. Let's try this. As I'm doing it, you can hear the tape kind of peeling off. Be careful because I don't know what components are underneath. Look, I'm almost there. Got a stubborn bit right in the middle. Got pretty much most of it in place. Just the adhesive is and do is apply that, rotate it as well. If you move into the right, anti-clockwise, that sort of lifts it up as you're going. It would seem. Slightly got some of that still on there. Right. I can now lift the heatsink off here. Oh, remember there's this paste that might be, and also some people said they've bent the heatsink as well when doing this. I don't know how easy it is to bend it. I'll find out in a sec. Well, it's not coming out the top easily. Just check. Okay. Here we go. It's just this bit up near the exhaust. The actual fins. Up here, so they're all full of dust. I'm gonna clean those out. And yeah, Most places recommend using compressed air in a can and a straw that you can do, and apparently vacuum cleaners can cause static electricity, so it's not good, especially near chips and components. I haven't got the compressed air, so I'm just going to do what I can with the vacuum. I mean, this isn't going to be near any components now. And then after that, got to clean this stuff off here and off here. And I'm also going to see if I can prise off this heat spreader and do the paste on the actual chip itself, just in case that stuff is dry and crumbly. I've cleaned this bit up a little bit, just the vacuumed out the fins. Still got the paste on there, paste on here, yeah, and I'm going to try and remove this heat spreader. There's no guide how to do it. They don't say about doing it in the iFixit guide. I saw a video on YouTube, and it looked like they just prized it off. So this could be risky. Well, one of the riskiest parts, I mean. Maybe it's not a good idea. I don't know. Might make the video more interesting if you've come this far. That corner's lifted off. This is risky. I don't think I should be doing this. Be careful I don't knock any of these bits here. That would be the worst. Even some tiny little bits right there, right next to that. I'm going to go out on a limb and say maybe I do not recommend doing this bit. This is where I break my switch, and I thought it was just going to be a thin bit of metal sitting on top. No such luck. I was wanting to remove this before removing this paste, because I thought if it goes on the chips and other stuff, I didn't know if it might be an issue. This might not be the best idea. A bit quicker if I didn't do this, but at the same time I don't know if the paste and stuff that's underneath here would be best to be reapplying. don't know if this is a Wi-Fi antenna or chip or something, but I end up breaking that off as well. I mean, you can see this is already bending. Speaker wires there that could damage. It's so small and insignificant down here, but like these little notches that poke out here, here and here. They're obviously keeping it on. Am I too far in or shall I give up? I'm just concerned that if I've peeled up this bit here, I might have loosened some paste underneath. The video didn't show the guy removing this bit. You saw him prod at something and then miraculously it lifted off. Probably cut it all out. Right. What's the worst that can happen? I might be knocking components underneath. Probably not a good idea to prise it open with a just so many other components nearby. Wondering if I should have bought this. I could end up hitting this power, the charging socket there. That would not be fun. Any of these components. I feel like I might give up. Really dented these corners though. Oh, what to do, what to do. There aren't so many little components around. I'd go for it, but a little concerned if these have lifted up, corners are lifted up away from some parts in there, that they will need and they'll make contact. I'm going to pause for now whilst I decide what I'm doing. Right, sorry to disappoint anyone that was hoping for this result, but I decided to abort removing this. There's these little tabs where it like pops over. I can't get anything thin enough to get underneath, lift these up, whilst making sure not to damage any of these components. You know, there's tiny ones all over the place. Here, some big ones here. This tiny little thing right, if you even make that out, all along here next to the cable for the speaker as well. And there's some tiny pieces down here. So I was able to get, I mean, hopefully I've not knocked anything at the moment. Might be pretty hard to tell until the thing doesn't work, but then there could be so many different factors into it not working. Could be the new battery didn't work, could be I've knocked something, could be something to any other bits I've removed. So I tried to push this down as best I could, as you can see it's bent a bit. If I could get it off, then I could try and straighten it out first. Hopefully I've not lifted it up too much under here. There's a chance I could have removed some of the paste and made a gap, an air gap, which is not good. So I chickened out. I could have made it worse. Who knows? Anyways, I'm gonna scrape off this stuff now. I mean, this stuff's quite putty-like still. I don't know what it should be like. I mean, I don't know if that's okay to still be working and not be a factor in anything. I was hoping when doing this, it's kind of like an indent there. I don't know where the that's where the chip is underneath. There's like a ridge here, slight ridge there and there. I can see on the other side of the copper. So hopefully I bent this up, it's all still making contact underneath. I could try out those wipes in the Arctic, but I'll leave it for now. Trying to be careful not to catch any of those components still. See what I mean by that ridge? So hopefully, when I peeled that off, hopefully all the important part is still attached. I'm assuming that's a good idea to start on there. I don't recall seeing copper. I've cleaned up this a bit. Carway because there's some banging going on next door. I accidentally started peeling this corner up though. Looks like it's stuck over. I don't know if there's a hole in this heat spreader where the actual top of the chip is poking through. But I don't want to remove this and then not be able to stick it back down. This could be a guide on how not to do your switch, as well as how to do some of it. I'm just going to clean up this. I don't know if you really have to worry about all the stuff that's right around the edge. It's mostly the bit that's going to make contact. And I was considering just getting a switch OLED, but had a feeling that a new switch or whatever the next console is would be getting announced soon. The Direct was the other day, February Direct, and they did not announce a new console then. And I was suspecting it might when Tears of the Kingdom comes out in May. But I was thinking it might be worth keeping this going until then, just in case, and or if a new one does come out. And I was going to give this one to my eldest daughter, so it'd be good to get the battery actually keeping a charge for more than 30 minutes. So that's why I was thinking this would be worth doing. Oh, there we go. It's bent the pipe. So easy to do. All I was doing was holding it whilst I was wiping that, and that was enough to bend this flimsy bit of copper. Best to stick this down on the floor. Even then, the height difference between the fins and this means it'll probably . 'Cause I didn't scrape off the excess with the spudger. Maybe comment below if you've made it through this far. I'm just talking to myself at this stage. If you've stuck this on to relax and probably fallen asleep, or you've long since switched off, in which case I am literally talking to myself. Pasting new thermal compound on here is probably, or on there as well, probably going to be for now. If when I was attempting to remove that, of course, an issue underneath. Like I said, you can learn what not to do. I'm going to give that once over just to I'm going to use this cloth because it's cleaner. Right. Now we're on to the fun bit of trying to stick a new compound on. Just reading the back of here. All these warnings. I cannot see the English. I'm not being stupid. Oh, here we go. May cause allergic skin reaction. Online manual. Well, I think I'm just doing a grain of rice down here. That should be enough. I was tempted to put some down, squeeze the thing down, and check how it went. I'd take it back off again, but then I'd have to clean it again, and this has already taken too long. So hopefully I'll just remove that. I think I'm going to squeeze off some excess. It's already coming out. I'm just going to put that, it might even be too much. Hopefully the bend isn't too severe. And this should all be cleaned up. I just realised this plate is going horizontal as the chip there is going vertical. I thought that was going to line up with that, but it isn't. Size of that kind of covers most of it. Doesn't cover all of it though, so that's a bit strange. You'd think that would be bigger to at least encompass the... Right, so now I have to put this on. First, I think that's the way it came. There we go. Just going to drop it on there, I think. Oh, get these cables out of the way. Right, it's just touching the paste. And as I screw that on more, it should, I hope, spread out more. Again, you can use this as a warning how not to do things. Learn from my mistakes. Press down. Feels like it's spreading out, but I don't know if it's still too much. But nothing's oozing around the sides. Let's start screwing on all three there. So I'm going to screw the lid back on. Just make sure this doesn't dry out. Probably squirt a little bit out the top. Okay, I remember these to stick back down. Right, slightly unaligned now. And I just put them in one by one. Right, not sure how tight to go. The problem is, because this bent, I don't know how, I suppose it won't make a difference here. Not seen any paste oozing out of anywhere. Might be a tad there. I'm not sure how tight to do these back up. I generally would say not too tight because I'm going to strip the screws. At the same time, you want to make sure there's enough pressure on the Well, apparently the chip on here has got lots of headroom before it would shut off, and hopefully if I haven't installed something properly, or if I did damage this by peeling it up, still jumping up a bit. If I did, I'll peel this up a bit. Hopefully it will survive it. I think that's enough for that. Right, I've got to stick these down. Don't know how well they're going to stick now. I don't know, is the heat pipe like that anyway, lifting up? Is that where I've bent it? Who knows? I'll put some paste on there as well. In oil. Let's just check how. That's quite stuck down. That's not so much. Right, got to connect the battery now apparently. That's going to involve, I'm going to get a bit of double-sided tape for there, and going to stick this to the new battery if I remember. And we've got to put on some of this onto here. So I'll see in a bit. Just going to got some sticky dots. They only have a small surface area, so hopefully the battery, if I need to remove it, won't stick down too much. It'll be easy to remove. Hopefully they're not an issue when it comes to the heat on the battery. I'm going to get the battery first. That's got to go in there. That's got a clip in. Like I said, I don't know if it's genuine. It looks genuine. I don't think the seller stated that they were, but push that there. Hopefully that will be enough. No, not too thick. Hopefully. So I've got to try and get it so the nectar's there. I think I'm not going to be able to do it until I've got this in place. Right. Don't know if there's got any charge in it. I don't know how easy this is going to be either. And I'm running out of time before the kids come home from school. Right, I have that in. Just in case they line it on there. And pushing it down so the black bits clip around it as well. Hopefully that'll be enough. Right. It's not got the SD card reader in. Wondering whether I can power this on. Don't know whether that'll be risky. Oh, that's a start. I'll come up with an error code because it's not got an SD card reader in it. Alright, said 0 on the time. I don't know if that's because I've removed some bits. I've only got about 10-15 minutes myself. At least the battery's working. Try and stick this down. This is stretched as a result of me peeling it off. It's going to be too big for the battery. Look at that. As I was peeling it, obviously stretched it. I wasn't pressed for time, I would trim some off. Oh, that's going to be just a bit of a bodge job. Just have to do it's just to give the battery a bit of protection. I'm going to rip some. Hope that's not an issue with it. Covering up the sides here. That heat dissipation. I'll have to do. As long as it doesn't interfere with the it working. Right. So we've still got to a dollop of this paste on. And here, stick this back on, screw that up, attach the SD card thing into there, put the pad back over, put in the other screws. I think that's all. I might not have time to do it all on video, but you know, watch the video in reverse and that will generally be the gist of it. It says that this is for just certain bits but not GPU or CPUs. Correct method, full cover, 1mm minimum. Well, I'm not putting it on chips or components, I'm just sticking it on here to bridge the gap there. Oh, there's a little wooden spatula, but that seems to have bent. It's like a putty. It looks a bit worse for wear. Bent in the post. Anyway, so there we go. Look at that. I don't know how much would be the right amount. Says minimum 1mm, and probably doing too much. Not sure if you can touch this with your fingers, but that bit of stick was next to useless. Build it up. Might be too high still, but I'll live with that. Alright, so that's going to make contact with here. Okay, this was supposed to go under this. Come on. Hooray. Right, so they're supposed to go underneath. Let's put this back in place. Feels like an okay amount. Feels like the right amount. Doesn't feel like it's bulging up unnecessarily. So now put these screws back in. A lot of cars going past because it's 3 o'clock now and there's a school nearby. I don't think that was supposed to go there. I think that's where the SD card thing screws in. Not sure if these are the same size. I might have put the wrong one in. They're probably the same size. I'll close this up because otherwise it might dry out. Not sure how useful that will be again, because apparently any thermal pads that are on your GPUs and things, that not directly on the chip but the other components, you should be able to just keep them on there and reuse them. So it might have just been for this, and it might not even have been the most necessary thing for this either. I didn't ever find those black clips. I'm sort of rushing this now because I'm not sure how long this video is going to be. Spent pretty much all day on it. Right, that's done. And gets the SD card next. This has to go on here, press in place, which seems quite the challenge. It might be best for me to screw it down first. This is going to be tricky. Potentially. That's going to be a pain. So hard to see where it goes. Don't have room to apply pressure. Even though this bit could be in place, this might not line up. I think I've got that in. It still is rocking around on it a bit though. When I press on either side, there's a bit of movement. But these grey dots here line up with these holes, and I can't lift it up easily, it doesn't drop out. So I'm hoping it's attached properly. Press down with a bit of pressure. I'm not sure how much pressure to use. I use the end of this spudger. Nothing else happening. If I press it even more, I could potentially break stuff. So I'm going to leave it at that. I suppose I could put my SD card in and turn it on to try, but I'm running out of time. So there we are, I've got that. Seems to be the SD card is one of the trickier bits, apart from the battery. Oh yeah, got this to stick on as well. Go with this cap. Have I done that correctly? Now place the plate back on. Burn out any dust that was on it. Nothing's clipping in here. Oh, there we go. That tab in there is broken anyway, so I don't know if that's going to do anything. There's a bit of gap here amongst the grill there, and everything else looks flush. I don't know if that's something that's been an issue for a while. And okay, and then that's all in place. In this case, it's screwing the screws back in. So we've got 4 in the corners, 1 under the flap here, one at the top, 2 at the bottom, and 1 on each side, which these are all still kept in place. So I'm going to do that now. Try not to lose them. I think these are tri-wings. I can't even tell. They're that small. Typical. Right, this is not a tri-wing. This one's a crosshead, yeah. Only these corner ones are tri-wings, I think. This may be doing soddle. Yeah. It's just got nothing to even grab into. Maybe when I prized it apart to get them to come out, maybe it broke the clip then, so you have to look out for that. I might just glue in just for I don't know, just for aesthetic purposes. Alright. I'm probably about done with this. Be close to my daughter getting home from school, and I think you got the gist of it. It seems to turn on. I have to see if anything else proves to be a problem. You need to also calibrate the battery by doing something involving fully charging it for some time, past when it says 100%, or maybe an hour or two, then fully depleting it, fully charging it again, fully depleting it. Do that like twice. Well, that whole process the once, but fully charge and deplete twice. I think there's information on Nintendo's website. It might be on the iFixit guide as well. And then we'll see if the battery works as it used to. Got a fresh battery in it, and hopefully none of the other components have been knocked and going to cause many problems. That's all, and goodbye.